Hi, friends, foes, and countrymen. It's my April update on the 2nd of May. The alleged anniversary of my sister's death 3 years ago, but actually I believe with good reason that she died on the night of Beltane, May the 1st. I'm going to try and give an overview because there are so many video updates I want to make and have said I will make and have the, the evidence and the details to disseminate. So I'm just going to try and keep this as an overview. Speed, you can go to the bottom right-hand corner and play this at speed 1.5 or something, because I tend to speak slowly on updates because I'm not reading from notes, I'm just updating. So I suppose the most pressing things, I actually thought about waiting until this evening to make this because Sabine McNeill is up in court again today. 70, I think she's 74, disabled campaigner against child abuse worldwide. So for those of you that don't know, she was in a court case for harassment of alleged pedophiles because of her online campaigning. Both her and Nilu Berry were up in court. The case collapsed with no case to answer. There were some serious legal discrepancies, fraud upon the court probably, where the judge dismissed the jury and just said no case to answer. But P.S. I'm going to give you a restraining order and I'm going to set a no-go zone around Hampstead, and with serious consequences. So that, which was, seems to me completely illegal. You don't have a case collapse and then, inflict a postscript restraining order on the defendants who were deemed to have no case to answer. But that has been haunting Sabine, and she's been found in breach of that restraining order at least twice, and once definitely by entrapment. So she's in jail in HMP Bronzefield at 74 on disability. She had a very severe cut. She used to be very active and go skiing and be a real exercise buff. And she had a bad car crash in, I think, the 70s. And she's been disabled since then, and she has to use crutches, or sticks, more accurately. She's got a pair of lovely sticks. But they confiscated them in HMP Bronzefield and told her she would be fine with a Zimmer frame. And the Zimmer frame is no help whatsoever because it's her hip that's damaged. So anyway, the German embassy sent 2 representatives to visit her there. And she was unable to leave her room because she only had a Zimmer frame and she was really in agony with her hip and other serious medical issues. And so the 2 representatives from the German embassy were told she could not be located. Now, bear in mind, this is a prison, probably charging the taxpayer, I don't know, at least $1,000 a week to keep somebody there. And they say they've lost her when she was, in fact, in her room. So the German embassy put in a complaint saying that this is like extraordinarily unprofessional and bizarre behaviour. And lo and behold, she didn't get her own sticks back the next day, but she got a pair of crutches. So at least she can get around. So today, bear in mind, she's not even due in this massive, expensive court case scheduled for November with a QC and an extra silk and Crown Court and vast expense to the taxpayer again. She's been remanded on bail, remanded in custody until then because her truth-telling online is deemed such a danger. It's just shocking. So anyway, she's in court today for a bail review on medical grounds, hopefully supported by the German embassy. She's lived in Britain since, I don't know, 30 plus years, a bit like I've lived in Ireland full-time. Well, I say full-time. Yeah, full-time since 1996, on and off since 81. Well, Sabine's been living in the UK and working for the UK and Europe tirelessly. And this is how she's ending her days, in agony in prison without adequate medical support, and imprisoned for breaching a restraining order, which was an afterthought of a court case that collapsed with no case to answer. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just jump online. Don't make it such a big deal when I do a video. Just jump online and do a Facebook live stream or a video each time there are news updates. The other, even though I've technically stepped down from the Hampstead case, and yet, as I said, if something lands in my lap, I'm not going to be, negligent to disseminate that. So the other very upsetting news is that Jake Clark, another prominent Hampstead campaigner who was sectioned maliciously for months and months and force medicated and, has had his life changed forever by this. He originally went to his GP and the police, expressing depression and anxiety as a result of trolling, mostly by Hampstead Research, the mostly satanic, self-admitted Satanists, and likely government, deep state-sponsored trolling blog. So he went with a very normal complaint that, the trolling and the constant videos and the slander and the libel is causing me distress and anxiety. And instead of action being taken appropriate to that complaint, he was sectioned. So more sinister than that is he's now being taken to court on the 11th of May, again by Ricky Dearman and one of the other alleged abusers from the Hampstead case. They seem to be reducing in size. Originally there were 5, went up against Nilu and Sabine, and then only 3 turned up to testify, and then it was down to 3, and now it's down to just Ricky plus 1, And even then, they'd been given permission in the past to testify behind screens, to testify from overseas. Ricky was in America the last time and allowed to testify from there, although Sabine was not allowed to testify by Skype to the court when she was in exile in Berlin, fleeing from malicious arrest threats, which have come to pass since she came back. So the 11th of May, Jake's up again. Steve Martin, DC Steve Martin, Freemason, the cop that did the retractions of the children and was deemed by the IPCC to appear to have led the children in their retractions. And one of the last advices police gave was that he should not be still on the Hampstead case. He should not be, given that the Independent Police Complaints Commission has upheld that it seemed likely he had led the children to retract their original disclosures. It is not advisable, feasible, recommended, possibly even legal for him to still be running this case, but he is. And he's handling this latest prosecution by alleged pedophiles for harassment, which will be Jake Clark on the 11th of May in Willesden, I think, in the first instance. I think the first stage is he's invited to plead. And if you follow common law, you don't plead because you don't recognise the jurisdiction. It's trial. In order to be legal, it needs to be trial by jury. But there is an option to elect to have trial by jury at a Crown Court. I'm not sure if that, I don't know what Jake's strategy is going to be. And then if you go to Crown Court, You know, there's supposed to be a jury. And so it goes on, you know, so it goes on. So that's an update. Nilu is still getting harassment of different sorts. Carol Woods, the amazing social worker, whistleblower, is being horrendously harassed. Lee Kant, there's so many of these people. Let's wait for history to say that they were and are indeed heroes who have risked everything for the sake of the truth. So that's those updates. I don't like. Now, I just really need to be honest with you guys. There are basics that I need to just do what I do. I need Zoom Professional, for which, you know, I pay a monthly fee. I need Vimeo Professional because sometimes YouTube bans videos and then I back them up on Vimeo. I need to keep my computer and security software functioning. And all of those are in breakdown mode at the moment. I'm working off a laptop with different things plugged in, but my Vimeo bounced. I think they need, last year it was €60 for a year's subscription to Vimeo Professional. My Zoom Professional, which is awesome. I love Zoom. To anybody that you can do screen share, you can show documents, you can have up to 16 people on a panel. It's more secure than Skype or Messenger, and it's fabulous. But I need to pay a monthly fee to keep that up. So I have no car. My PC went blue screen. It's in the process of being rescued. It's not gone. And I did have almost everything backed up onto a hard drive, an external hard drive, but it needs some serious attention. And my Zoom and Vimeo are past payment, past due. My website fees came up again. So I need €300 or €500. And I have a very small, less than a handful of faithful monthly supporters. But for those who have enjoyed my work over more than a decade, whether it's on Facebook, here on YouTube, you know, on my blog, wherever it is, if you can't be a monthly partner for a tenner or 20 or whatever you can afford, can you please contribute to a one-off via my GoFundMe page or my PayPal, so that I can just catch up on these absolute basics, without which I can't keep broadcasting. It's been a strange and turbulent month. The trolling went off the charts for a while. It abated then, and now they've migrated onto my Vimeo, and you know, telling outrageous lies on the Hampstead blog, saying I've had multiple abortions and I married a paedophile, and it's really, I don't even really need to discredit them because they discredit themselves with such lies. Really, it's quite sad. It's quite tragic. I was contacted by the sock puppet Emily Thorne. I was first of all contacted after the Anon videos by somebody using the sock account, Michael O'Brien, saying, you know, David Scherter upset my friend in her 20s and she was suicidal. She sent him money and he's going to pay, and don't you get in the middle of this. And then I was contacted, but I was given information, again, nothing to do with Hope Girl or Tivon or Fix the World. It's again, they're discrediting themselves because they're so far off the mark. It's almost farcical. But the people that actually did do the videos for me sent me another sock puppet allegedly being used by Emily Thorne. And then Jason Kiley, I think it was, and then that person messaged me and said, I'll ring you now on Messenger and prove I'm not Emily. Blah, blah, blah. And I just said, look, sweetheart, if you are in your 20s and if this crazy world has made you feel suicidal, I'm sorry about that. And I'm glad that you have somebody using the sock account, Michael O'Brien, that cares that you've been upset. And so, you know, regardless of labels of Satanist or you know, whatever, I don't, one of my faults is I don't hate very easily. And I don't hate sock puppet account Emily Thorne. And I have compassion for somebody in their 20s who, whatever they're mixed up in, is if it's causing them to be or feel suicidal. So I offered to that person, I was busy the day, they were frantically wanting to messenger call. And to be honest, there's nothing to stop, so say Emily going to a friend's house and saying, ring off my fake profile and say you're Jason Kiley and not me, and then she'll shut up. So, you know, and I am quite naive, but I said I can speak to you tomorrow, I'll set up a Zoom call, and I didn't hear back. So, you know, and then for a week, the trolling, the brutal trolling on YouTube stopped. Although it seems, you know, sometimes it doesn't stop, it's just that I can't be bothered to go and look at it. And then I'll get somebody contact me and say, you need to sue them for libel, they're saying X, Y, Z. You know, so Vimeo is the latest little viper's nest to open of malicious comments, but let's not focus on that. I did, in April, a trilogy of interviews with Terry Joyce on the Freedom of Joyce show on American Freedom Radio, 3 weeks in a row for an hour. And I will be sharing those, except coincidentally, her YouTube channel got taken down very soon afterwards. Now she's saying she thinks it was to do with somebody that had been stalking and harassing her for quite a while. And who knows, you know, who knows? 2 of the strikes were from Christine Hart, who's offered to reverse them if somebody will help her do so. And the 3rd and final strike was somebody that was known face to face by Terry. So she's appealing and you know, hoping to get her channel back up. And when she does, I'll share those 3 interviews. They were very enjoyable. And the 3rd one was quite, I would imagine it was partly what caused some censorship and some stir, because the 3rd one, off the cuff, she asked me about the Hampstead case. So even though I technically stepped down, I stand on the scripture that says, you know, be willing to testify in season and out of season. So truth doesn't go out of fashion, you know. Good news, Arthur's free. So Artie was freed, I think, on somewhere around Paddy's Day or just before Paddy's, no, that would have been March. He was supposed to get out on the 14th of March, but they found him on social media. So they said, right, we're going to keep you for up to 3 more months because you're still going on social media. Imagine you can be sectioned for going on social media. This is like 1984 on steroids, it really is. But Arthur is free, and he was 15 months sectioned for campaigning in his own inimitable style against mostly satanic ritual abuse worldwide. So he's free, and he's kind of, you've got to go through some culture shock when you've been locked up for 15 months and then you're released. The other big thing, which I need to do some more talking in depth about, is an organization called ITNJ, the International Tribunal for Natural Justice, something like that, headed up by people like, well, Sasha Stone facilitated a 3-day conference in London, tribunal, so say, in London. And on the paperwork were people like Robert David Steele, Timothy Holmseth, I like him, Michael Tellinger, I don't know much about him, some new age kind of therapists, quite a smorgasbord of people, and quite quite inexpensive, although it pales in comparison to, so say, Royal Commission inquiries into child abuse, which run into the multi-millions. Well, this ITNJ, which seems a little bit new age, but it's got some good aspirations. It raised $250,000 in the first place to establish itself with judges and academics and, different people. So I think the first fundraiser was $250,000 to go to London and decree and declare and proclaim that they exist. And then the 3-day tribunal in London was supposed to raise 120 grand, which in some ways you can say that's extortionate, but then it's relative. You compare it to a Royal Commission lasting 7 years and costing 83 million or something, 120 is modest. But they apparently only raised 66,000, which they deemed rendered them unable to live stream the event, which is odd because I operate on peanuts. I haven't gone the live streaming route yet, except on Facebook, but it's not. It doesn't cost vast amounts of money. But anyway, so they rented out these awfully fancy rooms in the Methodist Cathedral right beside Parliament, and coinciding with a time when 53 leaders, heads of state, were gathering at Parliament for some, I don't know, G7, G9, G20, I don't know what, but it was some gathering of leaders worldwide. But here's a clue that things weren't as they should be, because Special Branch or similar approached the leaders, aka Sacha Stone, and said, if you have any Hampstead campaigners attend, we will shut you down, we will arrest them, and we will hold you liable. So this International Tribunal of Natural Justice caved. Instead of saying, you can't dictate who comes to a public meeting about justice, about corruption and child trafficking, you can't make threats like that. But instead of saying that, they contacted the Hampstead campaigners, some of whom were due to testify, and said, oh, do you mind awfully not coming? Because, we've put a lot of effort into this and we don't want to be shut down. So that was like a big red flag straight away. How can you expose child abuse, trafficking and corruption and cover-ups if you cave to the very first intimidation? So I understand only about 25 people attended, and allegedly 66,000 didn't cover live streaming, so we await with bated breath for the sessions to be uploaded to YouTube or some other platform where one can see what happened. So you can probably tell I'm a little bit cynical about what happened there. I'm disappointed for an opportunity lost, really. So trying to think if there's anything else. Many of you, I started this saying that it's 3 years since my sister's suspicious death, and I've got much to do about that. I also have 2 books ready to publish, and I'm going to try and get them printed as opposed to published so that I can distribute them myself, because publishing is just, it's gone, unless you are, have big money behind you to promote something. Publishing it's a bit like old-fashioned journalism. It doesn't exist in its previous paradigm. So it really just a shout out for practical support. I absolutely have to get my computer fixed, my Vimeo and Zoom back up and running. My website fees are paid. I need to get the basics covered. I need about 300 just to get all my annual fees up to date and be doing more broadcasting instead of chasing my tail in terms of in terms of keeping the wheels turning. So that's it. You can look at my website, angelascashes.org, or find me on YouTube, Angela Power Disney, Angie Power Disney, or follow me on Facebook, where I've been daily blogging, like I said, for more than a decade. I opened a Steemit account, but I haven't really worked it yet. So that's it. A little older, a little wiser, a little sad about my sister, and a little stressed about just the logistics of doing what I do. But love to everybody, and I do believe lots is happening, and I do believe more people than ever are tuning out of mainstream media narratives, which are not true, and tuning into, whoa, we've got a big mess here, and what can each person do individually to make a difference to that. So that's it for now. And I've got lots of detail. As I say, I've got lots of detailed. I fell out with Wesley Hall, or he fell out with me. He thought I had published something about Alfie. I should mention Alfie, of course I should. I put a blog up about Alfie's parents being silenced. And he thought I'd put it on his group. And it had 133 comments on it. And in a couple of them, I got a bit heated. I got a bit emotional, I think, which is quite normal. And he accused me of using his group like my personal page, but it was my personal page. So he's spent some time recently in the company of Tracy Morris, who I previously distanced myself from and continue to research. And I think it was much more about her influence, which sadly continues to be malicious, just in a covert way. I've had people come to me and tell me she's saying this and she's saying that. And the irony is she's actually accusing me of saying things that I have screenshots and private messages from her mouth. So things she said, she's going around telling people, oh, do you know, Angie said blah, blah. And it's like, you know, if that's not a classic indication of inversion, I don't know what is. So I'll do, you know, reluctantly, I'll do some evidence sharing on that, and also Wesley, which is, I'm quite saddened by that. But, you know, a friend who is influenced by nefarious agent provocateur, whatever, is not a friend really, and that's just an ongoing sad realization is that the number of people one can trust ongoingly and count as friends is becoming a bit like the goldfish syndrome, where you can trust somebody, they can seem to trust you, you can fully engage, and bang, something's up, and it's off the table again. So very fast moving, very distressing in a way times we're living in. I think it's more important than ever to stay grounded, stay connected to your God, your creator, stay prayed up, and stay aware. But also, I'm looking out the window and it's kind of sunny. Remember to walk the dog, cook the dinner, laugh, have fun, you know, and take care of yourself. And I need to do that myself as well. So until next month, you know, I have released quite a few videos this month. My productivity's gone up, and my view averages have gone up. But I do need some practical support. So go to my website. You'll find either a one-off GoFundMe donation option, or you'll find a monthly subscription through the PayPal of 20, 40 or 100 euros a month. And just please get behind me if you enjoy my work and, you know, have enjoyed it for years, or even just newly enjoy it. If you can spare something, you know, not even spare, if you can invest something, then go ahead, please do. I would appreciate it hugely. Thanks, and God bless.